What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my movie channel. My name is Tom and thank you very much for visiting and joining me for my review of the new film 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri stars Frances McDormand and Woody Harrelson as the two leads of this film. Frances McDormand plays Mildred, who is a mother who 7 months ago tragically lost her daughter, who was raped and murdered, and she's heard nothing from the police in this time, so she puts up these 3 billboards calling out the police department, and in particular Woody Harrelson's character, Chief Willoughby, for not doing anything or not having any news on the case of her daughter. Now, while a lot of the town sympathize and are with Mildred and feel sorry for her about this tragedy that she suffered, they also are really good friends with the Chief Willoughby character, played by Woody Harrelson, and don't necessarily agree with these billboards going up. Now, I remember when I first saw the trailer for this movie, I think back in October. Now, I think the trailer released online earlier than that, and I know the movie definitely released earlier than it has here in Australia in the States. But I remember going to see Blade Runner 2049 and seeing for the first time the trailer pop up, and it was the Red Band trailer, and I thought the trailer was fantastic. The trailer was hilarious, and I thought it was this perfect mix of it had perfect mix of drama and comedy, and it really intrigued me to see this movie, and it instantly became one of my most anticipated movies for the remainder of the year, Star Wars notwithstanding. So I went to see the movie last night, and you'd be forgiven for just watching the trailer and thinking, this is a story about Mildred's revenge or a murder mystery to find her daughter's killer. But it's really not about that. It's about just a person dealing with this tragedy, and I guess how to deal with anger. There's a line in the movie that is said by one of the characters who says, "Anger begets anger." And it's a common theme throughout most of the characters in this movie, just how do they deal with anger and how do they overcome their issues. And I think Frances McDormand is going to she's a lock for a Best Actress nomination. She is fantastic in this movie. She's hilarious with a lot of her dry humor, and she has very emotional scenes. Now, I want to touch on Woody Harrelson's character because I really love Woody Harrelson in everything he's in. I mean, from Planet of the Apes to Edge of 17 to anything else Woody Harrelson's in. Having Woody Harrelson in your movie, I feel like, just adds more credibility. If I see Woody Harrelson in a trailer or is in a movie, it's a bit like I feel about The Rock, whereas if I see The Rock's going to be in a movie, I instantly want to see that movie. And his character in this movie is very, very complex. I think on the surface, I think people are just going to see him, oh, he's just playing the police chief. But I think he's a very complex character, and I really, really enjoyed his dynamic with Frances McDormand. Let's talk about Sam Rockwell's character, Jason Dixon. He is kind of like the chief's, second in command at the police station, and his character is also very complex. And throughout the first half of the movie, he does some horrible things, abusing his power as a police officer. He's a racist. He abuses people physically and verbally, and I really hated his character. Throughout the first half of the movie, I was like, I want this guy. I want him dead. I want him to get his due. Someone had better beat the shit out of him because I don't like him. And then, his character, he's not necessarily redeemed, but he does certain things to make up for his mistakes. And I came to understand his character more throughout the film, throughout the second half of the movie. Now look, overall, I enjoyed this movie. I sat down, I had a great time watching this movie. To me, this movie is a really good mix of dramatics and humor. But let's talk about the humor, because this is something that I feel is kind of a negative positive for me, where it's I thought every joke that they had in this film was funny. And a lot of it is dry humor, and a lot of it took me a second to catch on to what the joke was. But sometimes there was a couple of scenes in particular where there was something really dramatic happening and some tension that was really building up. And clearly it was an important, emotional, dramatic moment in the film. And the filmmakers chose to have someone come in and tell a joke or say something funny to get us out of that dramatic, tense situation. And I kind of felt like I wanted to see that dramatic situation play out without almost like a cop-out, almost like, oh, they couldn't work out how to get them out of this situation, so they threw in a joke. While that joke, one scene in particular I'm referencing, was funny, and it was a funny moment, it's like, I'm not sure it meshed too well with what was just happening. Now, I'm not going to give anything away about the ending of the film, but I remember watching it, and I could feel the movie coming to a close, and I'm sitting and I'm like, you better wrap this up properly, because I could see where it was going. And I've got to be honest, I've had 24 hours to think about it, and I really don't like the ending of this film. I think it's a bit of a cop-out ending. And I walked out of it last night going, yeah, it's a bit of a weird ending. I don't know. I kind of understand what they were going for, but not really. And maybe that's just because I'm stupid, but I do think it was a cop-out ending. And also I did feel like, while I was never bored watching this movie, there were scenes in it that had dialogue that was almost kind of repeated. It was repeating information we already knew. And so that was unnecessary. So I feel like the movie could have benefited from being cut down by about 10 or 15 minutes. But it is a very, very good film, and I really did enjoy it. So that is my review of 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Thank you very much for watching. We are within like 6 days of Star Wars The Last Jedi. I will have a spoiler-free and a non-spoiler review for Star Wars The Last Jedi when that comes out. That is going to be my next 2017 movie review. I also have my review of The Disaster Artist up, and my review of Return of the Jedi up with my friend Ali. My review of The Force Awakens is also coming before The Last Jedi. Look out for that. Thank you once again for watching, and I will see you guys next time.